Because of everything going on in the world right now in Palestine, I think these verses in the Quran are extremely telling and important for us, because Allah reminds us why He sent a prophet to Bani Israel to begin with. Why did the children of Israel have a prophet to begin with? Look what Allah says. He says, إِنَّ فِرْعَوْنَ عَلَى فِي الْأَرْضِ وَجَعَلَ أَهْلَهَا شِيعًا يَسْتَضْعِفُ طَائِفَةً مِّنْهُمْ. That there was this Pharaoh who was oppressing his own people. He was oppressing them, and he was killing the children, and he was wiping them out. Basically a genocide was happening. إِنَّهُ كَانَ مِنَ الْمُفْسِدِينَ. He was corrupt, he was causing corruption. So because of that corruption that was happening to people who are human beings, these are the creation of God, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted to send them a prophet to take them from that oppression to eternal success. Allah says, وَنَجَعَلَهُمُ الْوَارِثِينَ. Allah says He wants to make them from those who are continuously gaining and inheriting. And here it's not just a temporary inheritance, it's a permanent one. Allah is saying that here He wants to make them from those who get eternal victory by worshipping Him, by not worshipping the people, by not worshipping society. And through the prophet that God would send, He would make this nation a nation that would carry the message of God and remove oppression, because God does not love those who are unjust, those who cause corruption to any group of people, no matter who they are. And that was the message of Prophet Musa alayhi salam, to eradicate this injustice. And even Musa alayhi salam says later on himself, he says, رَبِّ بِمَا أَنْعَمْتَ عَلَيَّ فَلَنْ أَكُونَ ظَهِيرًا لِلْمُجْرِمِينَ. He says in verse 17 here that, "O Allah, because you have favored me, I will never side with the criminals." So for those who are claiming that God's people are chosen people, okay, them being chosen and favored would then make them remove oppression, not be part of oppression. So you don't get to say, I'm siding with God when you're oppressing people. You don't claim to preach the message of God if you are eradicating people just because you think you should eradicate them. You can't justify oppression even if you're claiming to be with God, because God does not love those who oppress. And if these people are coming to oppress because they think they have a right to this land, then look at this verse itself. Allah reminds us why He favored them to begin with, so they can be a means of eradicating oppression. So how can you claim to be a part of them and then right now are doing a genocide and are oppressing people? Basic human rights are not given, water is cut off, people are bombed. That's not God favoring you. You are the reason, when you do this, you are the reason that God sends you prophets to remove the oppression from your hands. And then when Allah gives us the scene of the mother of Musa, who has to put her baby at a young age in this river, Allah reminds us of tawakkul, of relying on Allah. Sometimes we have to let go of what we think is in our control. When we let go and give it to God, He will always be the master planner. His plan is always better than ours. And that is why tawakkul in times like this is so important. Reliance on God is so important. And whether we see with our own eyes the return of what we let go of, that's not what we're looking for. We're not looking for a temporary victory, but an eternal one. That eternally, in the hereafter, every single person who was a means of oppression will taste the punishment of their own hands. And every person who tried to eradicate oppression, whether they succeeded or not, will taste the fruits and the benefit and the bliss of the harm they tried to stop. This is belief in a higher power.